This is the AI Music Revolution, brought to you by JG BeatsLab. JG BeatsLab is a methodology company for serious musicians working with AI tools. Not tips, not hacks, a complete system for getting consistent professional output from platforms like Suno and Murica. We call it the unlocked system. The framing is simple. You can be a vending machine operator, pressing buttons and accepting whatever the AI gives you back, or you can be a director, understanding the platforms well enough to get exactly what you want from them. Lane 2 work, human-authored, AI-assisted music creation. That's what this show is built on. Here's today's episode. Hello and welcome to the AI Music Revolution. I am your host, Josh Gedleland, the founder of JG BeatsLab. You know, before we get into today's two topics, I want to spend a minute on something I'm legitimately excited about because it's brand new for JG BeatsLab and it's been sitting in the back of my head for a while now. So what I'm doing is I'm opening the founding cohort of something I'm calling the AI Music Release Lab. It's a facilitated month where I personally review your work every week and help you take one song from an idea all the way to a finished, released single, scheduled, filed, all of that. This is not another book. It's not another course. This is actually someone looking at your actual track and telling you what to fix before you move on, which is the one thing that self-study just can't give you, right? The cohort also will have a group of peers in it as well that will be giving feedback and insight and best practices and tips along the way. So the idea is to really have this group of individuals navigate this month-long cohort together. And it's just a lot of learning and a lot of best practices. And at the end of it, you should have a extremely well-polished song ready for release and a lot of lessons learned. So I'm taking the first seats for the founding cohort now. If you want the details, just drop me an email directly, josh@jgbeatslab.com, and I'll send you the full breakdown. It's not publicly listed on the website or any of that stuff yet. So just drop me an email and I'll get you the details. All right, that's the news. Now, let's get into today's two topics because today's episode is really about one idea that shows up in a couple different places. Two things shipped this week from JG BeatsLab, a free guide and a major update to a tool I built. And on the surface, they look unrelated. One's about rescuing a track that's almost right, and the other is about an AI assistant. But they're solving the exact same problem, just at two different moments in your process. That problem is starting over. We're going to talk about both, and by the end, you'll see why they're really one idea wearing two different outfits. All right, let's start with a feeling every one of you knows. You're a few generations in and something lands. The voice has the character that you wanted, or the arrangement is doing exactly what you had hoped. For 30 seconds, you think, I made it. And then you hear it, that one thing. The reverb just sits wrong, or the timing just feels rushed into the bridge. There's a click where two sections meet. One or two specific problems, and they're enough to keep you from putting your name on it. This is the hardest place to be with an AI track because it's not bad, it's almost right. And almost right is where most people get stuck because the two obvious moves are both bad. Ship it anyway, and you release something that, well, you're not proud of. Or throw the whole thing away and start generating again. Burning credits, chasing the magic you already had in your hands. There's a third option, And it's the one that I really want to talk about here because it's the same one, it's the same move I keep coming back to on the show. And that's don't gamble on a new role, run a process on what you've already got. I call it the studio salvage protocol. And the order matters as much as the steps do. There's 6 moves here, and they're always in sequence. First, listen all the way through before you touch anything. Write down every problem and the exact timestamp. Not the chorus is weak. You write down 48 seconds. The vocal pushes too hard. Specific and time-stamped. The step costs nothing and saves you the absolute most time of anything on this list. And it's one that a lot of people, if not the most people skip. 2, pull the track into stems if the problem lives in one piece. Is the vocal too wet? Are the drums drifting? Isolate it in the stem and work on it clean instead of fighting the entire mix at once. 3, fix timing before anything else. Not because it matters more, but because the timing tools work best on the original full sound before you've stripped anything away. So the sequence here matters, especially here. 4, strip the baked in reverb, but only where you need it. And here's the part that a lot of people end up missing. Keep both versions. Keep the dry one and the original wet one. The dry one is an ingredient, not the finished thing. When you're actually doing your mixing, you want to blend those two things together. 5, when you've got alternate takes of a section, judge each one in context, playing into and out of the neighboring sections, not just solo. The version that sounds the most impressive by itself is often the wrong pick because it doesn't tie well into the rest of the track. 6, keep every version named clearly. Raw, repaired, stems. If a fix makes something worse, you want the original still sitting right there. All right, run those 6 in order, and you take a track from almost right to what I call stem ready. Not finished, not mastered, that's still the mix and mastering ahead of you, but now it's clean, it's diagnosed, and it's organized. Instead of maybe good idea buried under 3 specific problems you never actually named. So I wrote up this whole thing as a free guide on the website. It's called From Almost Right to Release Ready, the Suno Song Salvage Protocol. Easier said than right, tongue twister there. But it walks the 6 steps in plain language, and there's a worksheet in the back that you can print and run next to you while you work. It's all free. Links in the show notes, or just go to jgbeatslab.com and you'll see the sign up there for it. Okay, moving right along to the second thing on this week's episode. And it's truly related, even though it doesn't really look like it at first. So here's a scenario. You ask a generic AI assistant why your second verse keeps drifting. It gives you a good answer. You close the tab. Next week, same song, same problem resurfacing, and maybe a slightly different way. And you're re-explaining your whole project from scratch to a tool that has never heard of it. That's the difference between an assistant and a manager. An assistant answers the questions in front of it and forgets you the moment you leave. A manager keeps the project moving. It knows where the track is, what you've tried, what worked, and what the next move is. And that's the whole idea behind Fader 2.0, which shipped this week. By the way, if you have Fader, then you already have Fader 2.0. So the mechanism is something new in this version. It's called Portable Studio Artifacts. So structured documents, Fader builds with you and hands back. So the project has a memory that lives outside of any single conversation. You save it, you paste it in the next session, and the work picks up where it left off. There's 4 of them. There's the Artist Bible, and this is your sound written down. The genre lane, the vocal identity, the rules your project always follows. Build it once, every future session then starts aligned instead of guessing. Next, you have the Track Passport. It's one song's working file, goal, stage, what worked, what failed, the next action. So a single track keeps moving across sessions without you re-explaining it every single time. The release readiness gate is a green, yellow, or red check before you distribute. And when something's not ready, it leads with the fix, not a sales pitch. And the memory update block is the short handoff you paste at the start of a new chat, so it picks up where the last one ended. I want to be straight with you about what this isn't, because a studio manager that overpromises isn't one you can trust with a release decision. This isn't Fader having a perfect memory that follows you around forever. No AI assistant reliably does that. What it actually gives you is a structured memory you control. You hold the artifacts. You decide what carries forward. That's more durable than a promise of magic persistence because it doesn't depend on the platform remembering anything. It depends on you having a file, which you always will. Fader is part of the Red Lab library, the full system, all 7 books, the research behind everything I just told you, the blueprints, and Fader itself. One payment, $97. So, in closing here, same move both times, not more luck. A process you can run the same way tomorrow. This all takes work. This all takes time. This all takes discipline. And that is the difference between people who are pushing out AI slop and those who are raising the ceiling of what's possible using these tools. If you want the free download from Almost Right to Release Ready, go grab it. It's no cost. Links in the show notes. And if you want the whole system, Fader included, the Red Lab library is $97, one payment, yours forever. Stop gambling. Start directing. And thank you for listening. One more thing before you go. Every Thursday morning, I send out a newsletter, 1 email a week. It's where I share what I'm working on in the studio, the research running in the lab, and the methodology I'm refining in real time. New books, new blueprints, new findings from the Red Lab protocol research. If that sounds useful, you can sign up at jgbeatslab.com/newsletter. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next Friday.